With Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe set to be formally announced in the upcoming months, fans are really excited to hear any news regarding previously, Fox-owned characters appearing in the MCU. Now, one franchise many people are excited about specifically is the Fantastic Four, aka Marvel's first family. And when it comes to adapting the Fantastic Four, there are many different views on whether it should be a time period film or it should just be from the beginning set in the current MCU. Now, a very popular idea that I'm actually a fan of as well is having at least part of the Fantastic Four film taking place in the past, like the 1960s, with their accident maybe causing them to venture to another universe, another dimension, whatever, but eventually they come back, and when they come back to Earth, they're in the post-Endgame MCU. Now, this could work along with using plot lines of other things like, let's say, nations like Sokovia being reorganized into Latveria. That could be something that could also work, which actually would work super well for a place like Sokovia, considering Sokovia is kind of in disarray last time we checked. And also, if you look at Latveria's fictional location and Sokovia's fictional locations in Europe, they're both rather the same place, more or less, with regards to where they're kind of said to be located at least. Now, of course, the natural question that would come up is how Marvel would bridge the Fantastic Four with a current film franchise, assuming that one of the franchises we have now receives a sequel in Phase 4 that could be further expanded upon and also act as a perfect way to introduce at least some elements of the Fantastic Four, kind of like a backdoor pilot, so to speak. And I think a perfect answer to that would be the sequel to Ant-Man and the Wasp, whatever it's eventually named, especially as director Peyton Reed has already expressed a lot of interest in, if given the opportunity, directing a Fantastic Four movie in the MCU. Now, honestly, with all the different characters involved, the timelines would actually fit pretty well, as you could have a young Dr. Hank Pym be a student under Dr. Reed Richards, and having Reed Richards mentor Hank Pym and potentially help him with certain things like maybe the discovery of the Pym particles, that type of thing wouldn't be out of nowhere. In the comics, Reed Richards once made the revelation to Hank Pym that he actually had discovered the Pym particles prior to Hank discovering them, yet he kept it a secret. And also, the knowledge and development of the Pym particles could be related to the creation of the unstable molecules as well, which is something that a lot of fans of the Fantastic Four are aware of, as that's what their uniforms are made out of. Now, another opportunity with using Ant-Man's franchise as a bridge for the Fantastic Four would be the utilization of the quantum realm. While different origin stories, ranging from the traditional cosmic energy from traveling to space to the Ultimate Universe using a teleportation machine, which Fant4stic did a derivative of, while they have different iterations of how they got their powers, the quantum realm would provide a very easy solution for that kind of mystery, as the quantum realm itself provides enough mystery, kind of mystique to it, and at the same time you can still tie that into the FF's exploratory nature. And with an FF, exploratory type film, you can use that when exploring the quantum realm to further flesh out certain things like the Micronauts, for example, since we saw that city in the quantum realm, which everyone believes from the get-go, and it seemingly was semi-confirmed by different quotes here and there from producers that was basically supposed to be the city of the Micronauts. And that'd be perfect for something like the Fantastic Four to really explore, since to a certain extent they're all about exploration and the scientific kind of drive, so to speak, that certain characters have, especially characters like Reed Richards. Now, while different than, like I said before, their traditional cosmic energy origins, it could also explain Hank Pym's fear of the quantum realm, as he seemed to be fully aware of the dangers of going into it before Janet even disappeared. Now, that would be more of a stretch because obviously they kind of instituted that fear of going into the quantum realm prior to the Fantastic Four being a part of the MCU, but I'm sure that could be something that's easily retconned into the storyline just as easily as one line. Now, the same technology used actually to find and bring back Janet could in theory also be used to find and bring back the Fantastic Four if they're stuck in the quantum realm, especially after Tony Stark's kind of inventions with traveling through the quantum realm. I'm sure if you combine that with the technology Hank Pym already had, you could definitely find maybe a group of people like the Fantastic Four. Let's say they were super hidden in the quantum realm. I'm sure at this point there's no excuse for why you couldn't find them. Now, further going off this theory, Janet's reveal of having powers after years of quantum realm exposure would actually transition very smoothly into explaining how the Fantastic Four got their abilities. Because if Janet can gain her abilities after about 30 years in the quantum realm, then why wouldn't any member of the FF be able to get their abilities after nearly 60 years in the quantum realm, assuming they were lost in there around the 1960s? And if you look at Ghost, speaking of her, and her abilities that she received from quantum realm energy exposure, they included things like invisibility and intangibility, which aren't dissimilar to the abilities of Sue Storm. So another reason this would actually make a lot of sense is because it's just a great fit all around. Besides that obvious kind of similarities here and there with Ghost's abilities from the quantum realm and what you could apply to Sue Storm, you also have the situation where in the comics, Reed Richards is good friends with Scott Lang. They have quite a great relationship to the point where in the comics, when the founding members of the FF had to leave Earth for an, at the time, unknown amount of time, during that situation, Reed Richards trusted Scott Lang to be in charge of both the Future Foundation and also lead a temporary Fantastic Four group consisting of Scott Lang, Medusa, She-Hulk, and Miss Thing. So with this relationship being a thing in the comics already, it would actually make a lot of sense for the Fantastic Four to be spawned as a franchise from the Ant-Man franchise. Like, that basically makes more sense is what I'm saying than having someone like Spider-Man operating under Iron Man's shadow, so to speak, which I know is a huge critique a lot of fans have of the Spider-Man franchise in the MCU, because they feel he's just way too attached to Iron Man, especially with having characters like Happy Hogan appear and dating Aunt May now in the MCU. A lot of fans are just not happy with how tied those two characters are. So basically, if we can have that, there's no reason why Ant-Man, with his connections, as I kind of laid out, to the Fantastic Four can't be used in a similar or even greater way, at least for getting the Fantastic Four franchise off the ground and running. So comment below your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about this idea of the Fantastic Four connecting directly from the Ant-Man and the Wasp franchise? Leave your comments down below, and we'll see you guys later.